At the beginning, he became the devil's heir. Douglas Barrett. Caught by Capu and the warring states into the advancing city. After sleeping for 20 years. Starting from the launch of the advancing city, step by step overturning the calm of the sea. Ding. The task has been completed. Reward any natural fruit. Ding. The task has been completed. Reward a random Superman fruit. Ding. The mission is completed. Reward animal series, phantom animal species, fish fruit, and green dragon form. As the rewards improved, Barrett gradually realized that he seemed a bit invincible. Until the truth of the world is revealed. The whole world is afraid of Barrett's existence. What should I do if I'm bored? Do I want to overthrow the fourth emperor and playBe at the top of the world? Use your strength to forge a path of demons that fears the world. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Awakening from Hell. Monsters in Monsters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. High Yuanli 1500 pirate king Gerda D. Roger has been arrested. Causing a monster to rampage the year 1520 in the High Yuan calendar. Underwater prison. Advancing city LV 6. The monster in the darkness finally awakens. The soul, which had been silent for 20 years, also awakened with it. Darkness. Or is this a prison? Yeah. I remember being caught right after waking up. In the darkness, the silent voice in my heart slowly clarified my thoughts. My eyes, which have been closed for nearly 20 years, seem to have twitched a little due to the Pell prison. Also known as Advancing City or Underwater Prison. A huge tower-like structure submerged in the sea, with its foundation on the seabed. Due to being built in a windless zone, the entire Impel is surrounded by giant sea kings. The prison is guarded by a naval warship. In the dark areas of the prison, there are various cells and interrogation rooms for prisoners to use. These cells are all made of sea tower stones to prevent prisoners with demon fruit abilities from escaping. A prison in the world of pirates that imprisons the entire world of pirates. At the same time, it is also a place that makes countless pirates tremble with fear. Knowing that the pirates here would rather be killed by the Red Dog and the Dark Dog. I wouldn't want to come to this place called Pirate Nightmare either level. 6, known as the known Infinite Hell. The criminals here are truly vicious and legendary monsters. Or a true legend. For example, a legendary pirate. The Golden Lion Shurji. Even the former pirate king, Gerda D. Roger, was imprisoned on this level before his execution, the deepest part of the Infinite Hell. From the beginning to the innermost. The monsters are becoming increasingly terrifying. Starting from Katerina Dupont, all the way to the deepest few real monsters. It's been 20 years. In the darkness. The murmur, even though faint, was exceptionally piercing in the darkness of silence. The monster who was with him in the deepest part of the left and right also opened their eyes upon hearing this. Is it him? The old face in the darkness frowned uncontrollably, and there was a slight silence in front of the figure whispering. A man known as the descendant of the devil, surprisingly still alive. What a monster! The monsters, who were both monsters, were amazed. Sometimes I'm thinking. The lifted head did not show any signs of decadence, only a mocking voice rang out. Click. Click. Ka, it's really a garbage system. Activating it takes 20 years. It's time to go out. Damn cage. The sound of the broken chain sounded, and the monsters couldn't help but be surprised. This guy. What's going on? Boom. Wait for the sound of the chain breaking to end. A huge roar rang out, and the monsters felt only tinnitus in their ears. All that's left is the eyes full of disbelief. Is what happened 20 years ago happening again? Level 6 external, step by step, hurry up. Hurry up. Hurry up. Infinite hell, if there is a situation, immediately block the exit. The huge roar instantly caught the attention of the soldiers in the underwater prison. The sound of heavy footsteps cannot conceal the fear of the soldiers. You should know that it's a place where monsters reside. Hurry up and notify Captain Magellan. Apart from the helpless act of blocking the exit, the task of going down to inspect should be handed over to the people above. That's not a place for the minions to go, alright. Get out of my way. Under the roaring cigar that had not fallen, the cold man holding a sharp blade walked coldly towards the entrance of the infinite hell. But. That's just. The soldier's reminder was speechless as the man stared arrogantly at him. And the man has already walked in step by step. How interesting. In this case, Magellan has no reason to prevent himself from executing criminals. Deep in the infinite hell, there's a good show to watch. The monsters tugged at the corners of their mouths, staring ferociously at the smoke rising from the roaring sound inside. Wait. It seems like. It's that monster. An unstoppable fear from a monster with a little more intelligence. Even when facing Magellan for a patrol, there was no hint of emotion on his face. At this moment, he was extremely frightened. Monster. Ha ha ha. Isn't that a monster here? Arrogance is the daily routine of these pirates. Otherwise, how can one become a true pirate on the sea? Who is not a monster who can be imprisoned here? So when faced with reminders from others, monsters can only mock themselves with arrogance. Ha ha ha. Times and the arrogant laughter of the monsters rang out one after another, and only the person who was surprised to make a sound still couldn't stop shivering step by step. Shut up. The man who walked down roared upon hearing the piercing laughter. A bunch of garbage. After the monsters stopped laughing, the man mocked layman. After all, it's better to be honest now that it's the fish on the cutting edge. If on the sea, even the generals cannot make them shut up. Lu. With the murmur of a monster, the identity of the man was also revealed. Rain's hope remains. A notorious executioner. Because of the tendency to execute criminals without authorization, it can be said that there is no popularity in the entire underwater prison. Except for Magellan, who had a deterrent effect on him, everyone else, including the monsters in infinite hell, were very intimidated by him. Let me see that little guy jumped out of his cage. Are you so eager to die? Feilu then slowly walked towards the depths. The murmur accompanied by footsteps indicated his calm attitude. As he walked deeper and deeper, Feilu finally realized a hint of something was wrong. It seems like we have arrived at the real monster cave. Chapter 2. The Hope of Rain in Fear. Prison Chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The chains interspersed between the pipa bones and limbs were pulled out with streams of black blood. The torn wound slowly healed along with it. Even my body slowly straightened a little. Until the sound of footsteps in the distance sounded. The fist-sized hole has disappeared. Rain's hope remains. Haven't you locked it up yet? In the smoke, like the devil's whispers, Feilu couldn't help but stop his footsteps. It's actually this monster. Damn it. Why be afraid? He has been imprisoned for nearly 20 years. What are you afraid of in that weak state? A sword struck him. In my heart, I was roaring wildly, but in reality, I wanted to pull out my hand from the thunderstorm but couldn't stop trembling. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of me? Why? I've been imprisoned for an unknown amount of time. Maybe just a soldier can take me down. With a tired voice amidst the vicissitudes of life, it is full of temptation. I don't know if it's an illusion or something. The sound in the smoke seems to be getting more and more energetic. Confrontation always makes people nervous. Especially in this situation. Sure, although it usually takes less than a blink of an eye to draw a knife, it has been pulled out for an unknown amount of time. Until the smoke dissipated and revealed the figure of the monster inside. Shilio's pupils contract sharply. Clack. The scabbard in his hand instinctively fell to the ground, and the hand holding the sharp blade in his hand was completely uncontrollable and trembling. You. No, it's impossible. The sound of terror sounded, with an incredulous expression. What's impossible? There are already many incredible things in this world, aren't there? The monster grinned ferociously, extremely satisfied with the power transmitted from its body. It is truly this world. He is truly the pinnacle of physical strength. This body is simply too satisfying. It took 20 years. This body has been built for a full 20 years. It's simply fascinating. Dong dong dong, absolute control over power, controlling the sound of footsteps and stepping on the bottom of Shilio's heart. If you think it's okay, I don't mind making you my first sacrifice after being reborn. Although I yearn for these characters, if they are enemies. I won't be too weak myself, will I? Hey. Let me out. That's right. As long as you let me go, I can help you kill one. No. 10. 100. Ha ha ha. As long as you let me go, you will get my Lord Sabri's treasure. As the first bold person shouted out, the monsters all became excited. Escape from the underwater prison. Return to the sea and continue to live freely. I'm really restless. Buzz. My eyes slowly became displeased, and a wave of domineering aura invaded the most terrifying part of my brain. Pop it. Pop it up. Plush, once known as monsters, they now roll their eyes and fall down like minions. Level 6 external, how could Lord Shilio? Plush, I couldn't help but worry that the taxi soldier froze before speaking, and then fell to the ground. Afterwards. Like an infection, one taxi soldier after another fell down. Now it's much quieter. Twisted the neck that had been moved for 20 years, Barrett smiled. Ding. Task triggered. Escape from the advancing city. Reward. Devil fruit side effects eliminated. Oh. Then I have to look forward to it. Slowly walking towards the outside of the cage, a desire for freedom also emerged. Step on. You're still alive, Mr. Monster. The footsteps stopped, and Barrett stopped in front of a cage and smiled. Do you want to come out for a walk? This world has become very interesting, thank you so much. In the darkness, an old face slowly appeared with a hint of longing. The longing for freedom in his eyes made Barrett deeply empathize, the sea outside the prison at this moment. In the endless ocean, a navy warship is heading towards this place. Lord Kazan. Magellan sent a message that all handover procedures are ready. Then set off with all your might and arrive at advancing city within 10 minutes. Yes. An impassioned messenger and a lazy messenger. Kazan, the three great generals of the navy, arrived here for some unknown reason. Perhaps it's because the prisoners on the deck were scattered in a mess. But it's just some trash with rewards so low that they don't add up to 100 million Bailey. Perhaps it's because it's deep in the bottom of the ship. A figure frozen in a cell by ice. The skull on the back represents the identity of the strongest man. The treatment that requires a general to personally escort is enough to show that his identity is not simple. Advanced city level. For inside, quiet breathable sounds accompanied by waves of smoke. In the office that has been changed to a summer-long exclusive office. Soldiers who were on high alert were wearing gas masks. Go out. Go out. If you're here. I can't pull you out. Inside the toilet curtain, weak voice sounded with a hint of shyness. Upon hearing this, everyone quickly ran out. Just waiting for your words. Long summer. Didn't you see us wearing gas masks? We're almost knocked out by your poison. Bruno, Moses. This is the summer mayor's office. Outside, what can I do for you? No, things are not going well. There's an accident down there. What? Step by step the soldier who had just stepped out quickly ran back with a nervous expression on his face. Faced with intelligence coming from below, there are also those who are about to face the determination of toxic gas again. Chapter 3. Douglas Barrett. Legendary. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Summer Chief's office, step by step, didn't I say to let you out? No, it's not good. There's intelligence coming from below, something's wrong. This is it. The feeling of coming out was interrupted by the sound of footsteps. Magellan's displeased roar was also interrupted by the nervous voice of the soldiers. Isn't Shilio on the 5th floor? Let him go check the situation first, and I'll be there later. Although I don't know when I can stand up. But Magellan paid no attention to the tense appearance of the people below. This is the city of advancement. Last time I made a mistake and escaped from a monster. The defense and vigilance here have doubled several times. Even if Roger comes, he can't escape. And at this moment, Shilio, whom Magellan had high hopes for, only had one breath left level. 6. Kashi, you're really not obedient. I don't quite understand why you're taking action against me. Yuji Shilio's neck was tightly pinched, with a look of rolling his eyes and dying at any moment. The monster-like man couldn't help but sigh. But I couldn't get any response, of course. Shilio just tried holding on to the other person while pretending. I didn't expect this monster to mercilessly give itself a second. And all of this. The man known as the monster is naturally unknown. Perhaps calling oneself a monster all along is not appropriate. The man's name is Barrett. Douglas Barrett. That 8-year-old went to land mines. Become a national hero at the age of 13. At the age of 14, one person destroyed a country due to betrayal. At the age of 15, he set sail and fought against the pirate King Roger, but was defeated before boarding the ship. During this period, I will face off against all the members of Roger the Pirates. Except for Roger, only Raleigh can draw with Barrett. At the age of 18, he learned that Roger was terminally ill and questioned his strength. He challenged again and was defeated before disembarking. In the same year, he met 19-year-old Clockdale in a 1-on-1 match, and at the age of 20, he learned of Roger's death and went berserk due to losing his life goal. At the age of 22, he was defeated in a solo battle with Capu warring states Zifa and Kong's demon-slaying order and imprisoned in Advancing City Prison. At the age of 42, he fled during the war because Blackbeard opened the LV-6 prison and released prisoners. Later, we found a former member of the Rogue Pirates team and collaborated with them to hold the Pirates World Expo using the Rogue treasure as bait. Intended to attract strong players from all over the world to compete for the treasure and then kill them all before being defeated by Luffy. And after all, Luffy is the god of the theatrical version. But it cannot be denied that Barrett is powerful. But what sets it apart from the original work is, at the age of 22, Barrett had already died when he challenged the entire demon-slaying order alone. It can even be said that there is no residue left after being bombed. Then came another Barrett. An ordinary person who lives in an ordinary world and may not even be able to defeat naval soldiers. Afterwards, because he looked very similar to Barrett, he was caught in a daze. It can even be said that Barrett was stunned when he was imprisoned on the last floor of the Advancing City. As for why an Easterner would have the name Barrett, it all depends on the past life because I have lived abroad for a period of time. Summer, why don't you give it an English name, just call it Douglas Barrett. And because he was very similar to Barrett in One Piece, he was teased by his friends and said. Afterwards. Even if Shimu refuses to give a messy name. but everyone still likes to call him Barrett. Mainly, a name like Shemu that sounds very gentle at first glance is not suitable for a muscular man, and the accompanying golden finger is naturally a standard accessory for travelers. Without a name, its purpose is unknown. I only know that since being imprisoned, I have been getting stronger every day. With the activation of the system, it seems to be inheriting the original Barrett's ability. The three-color dominance of the pirate world has awakened to its current terror. Like Barrett in the original work, it exudes a three-color aura. And Barrett was like a deep sleep, his mind was constantly blurry. Only the body that has been reshaped continues to strengthen. Until now, the system has awakened, slowly increasing its strength for 20 years and drawing an equal sign with Barrett. It came inexplicably. The strength comes inexplicably. Since we have lived a lifetime, let's abandon our past. Just call it Barrett. Note. The above settings are based on the author's dislike of soul-piercing, so don't delve into the specifics. Dong dong dong. Perhaps because of his redesigned body, Barrett is not as tall as he used to be at 5 meters. Being only 2.8 meters tall is not very special in the world of pirates. But the muscles that have been condensed all over are like monsters. Every step taken can cause a burst of vibration. Of course. This is just Barrett intentionally doing so. Just because of our strength, it's uncontrollable today. Just like an ordinary person who suddenly possesses superpowers. The power and speed that can destroy everything with every move and gesture made Barrett feel extremely happy in his heart. The increase in strength can be said to make Barrett feel comfortable all over. I really want to imagine that you, like me, have been imprisoned for so many years. The man frowned, not very noticeable on his already aged face. Looking at Barrett in front of him in a normal state, as if nothing had happened. The old man only felt a hint of envy. After all, I'm still getting older, hey. It's just being imprisoned for 20 years, just consider it a practice. The confidence brought by strength is often the most uncontrollable. In Barrett's eyes. I just slept in a daze for a long time, and when I woke up, I had the ability to turn the world upside down. This powerful feeling is fascinating. What do you plan to do when you go out? You're already old, don't get caught again. Don't worry, I already have some ideas. If I can succeed. The old steps were powerful and powerful, slowly moving towards the outside. Take your time playing, I'll leave first. If the status is not good, retreat first. And look at Barrett's eager appearance. I'm afraid it's going to cause a complete uproar here, wishing you success in your plan. Senior Red Count. Barrett Leadfield. A ruthless person who once fought against the entire Navy and was caught only after feeling physically exhausted in the end. Its plan is nothing more than the so-called Devil's Fruit. Animal series, phantom species, vampire form. If you don't have a system, you can look forward to it. Now. Let's just forget it. Moreover, it seems that I have inherited Barrett's fruit ability as well. Chapter 4. Clockdale. Regarding Barrett's. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Advance within the city. At this time, the city of advancement is bustling with activity. Step by step at this moment, the sound of dense footsteps resounded throughout the advancing city. In the past, only the screams of criminals echoed, but now suddenly a different kind of note has emerged. This urgent attitude also made the criminals in the city smell a different scent. Some people who have been imprisoned for a long time feel a sense of familiarity. It seems that the same situation occurred 20 years ago. What's going on? Magellan, who pushed the door open, looked unhappy, as if it was not just because of the bad news coming from below. It seems that a monster from the 6th level has escaped, and the warden, Feilu, seems to have not received any news yet. The soldiers who went down to check the situation fainted when they saw the soldiers blocked at the entrance. The woman said solemnly with a stern face. As a beautiful woman, she has to live a dark and sunny life in a prison under the sea all day long. It's strange to have a smile on one's face, but for the sake of justice in one's heart, well. Immediately notify everyone. Criminals who dare to cause trouble will be shot to death. As for the following, I'll handle it. Magellan quickly developed a response to Domino's report. After all, he is the head of the entire underwater prison, and he must definitely be able to handle these situations. Magellan, who is very confident in his own strength, said that all of this is not very difficult. Last time, due to my lack of experience, I only thought about suppressing the chaotic prison at the first time. I'm afraid that man couldn't have run out of here either. But the specific situation is just regret. This time, no one wants to escape. When Magellan was steadfast in his beliefs. At this point, Barrett is ready to start his own plan. A golden lion broke free from the sea with its legs, and later Luffy escaped with the prisoners. Then I should also play with some flowers myself. For example, how about completely destroying the propulsion city with crazy thoughts? Barrett slowly turned to the imprisoned monsters on the side. Barrett. At this moment, a familiar voice came from a certain cell, causing Barrett to frown uncontrollably. This voice. I thought who it was, isn't it Barrett? When Barrett approached, he saw a familiar figure. Even if imprisoned, he still smiles confidently. Clockdale. Has this guy been defeated by Luffy? It seems that the plot has been going on for a long time, sassy and indifferent. At the end of the day, as a reckless and fruitless person, Lao Sha's words really make people feel good. But when he said this to his face, Barrett felt a bit speechless. Boom. Cough cough. Can't you move quietly? With a punch, Lao Sha opened the cell and couldn't help but complain under the smoke. Who caught you? Warring States period. Or Capu. Barrett didn't care at all, and even started teasing Clockdale. I chose to remain silent about which pot I didn't open and which one I didn't mention. After all, I can also be considered one of the powerhouses of my era. The result was taken care of by a little ghost who had never even been to a new world. It's a bit hard to say, ah la la la. You won't be caught by some inexperienced navy, will you? Or did you say you were beaten and defeated by some little ghosts? Without looking at Clockdale's increasingly dark face, Barrett joked to himself. Bang! Shut up. When Barrett opened the handcuffs of the other party, the hook in Clockdale's hand had already attacked Barrett. Unfortunately, the wrist held by Barrett with one hand could no longer move forward any further. The top of the murderous hook stopped in front of Barrett. It seems like I could almost penetrate my eyeball and completely pierce my head. What? Have you been immersed in the glory of the past for so many years? There hasn't been any progress at all. Faced with Barrett's mockery, Clockdale was filled with shock. The former opponent in front of me seems to have become a bit terrifying. Do you know why I let you go? Don't worry, I won't let you be my subordinate because I know what kind of person you are. Crocodile. Do you know how my strength came about? Fighting only endless fighting and fighting can become stronger. The difference between Barrett and Clockdale lies in this point. One values external forces, while the other values personal strength. Perhaps it was the reason for being hit hard by the white beard. I have completely abandoned my ambition to venture into a new world, although the current Barrett is not the same as before. But the reason why Barrett is so powerful in the original work is because of the terror he mastered in the fight to death. I don't care what you do after you go out, just like adults don't care about children's play. Go and become stronger, otherwise this world will be too boring. Clockdale released Lao Sha's wrist and Barrett slowly walked out of the cell. Barrett was not just on the rise when it came to rescuing Clockdale casually. As for Clockdale attacking himself, does that adult care about the temper of children? Humph, Barrett. After an unpleasant snort, Lao Sha was too lazy to argue in it. Perhaps Barrett is right. I am too addicted to the glory of the past. It seems like it's time to go back to the new world. With such thoughts in mind, Clockdale also slowly disappeared into place step by step except for the Red Count and Clockdale. The others did not arouse Barrett's interest. And the other guy frozen in the ice, Barrett, has no idea. I don't need these losers myself. I won't do anything to Blackbeard Tiki either. The sound of footsteps is in the prison on the 6th floor. With a heart beating for freedom. The world of pirates, you, Uncle Barrett, have been released from prison. Chapter 5. Magellan. Invincible Summer Long. A punch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. During the time wasted by Barrett, Magellan had already arrived at the entrance of level 6. The soldiers who fainted on the ground reminded Magellan that the monster he had escaped was definitely extraordinary. Heat. Heat is long. Creak with the sound of the elevator turning, it seemed that someone was coming up from below. At the same time, Magellan also looked solemnly towards the exit, unable to deny his surprise at Domino. Bang! When the elevator stopped, a faint purple smoke had slowly risen from Magellan's body. Dida Shu. The fist slowly turned into a purple appearance, and the thick venom fell low on the ground, burning one pit after another. Coming. When the elevator door slowly opened, a strong figure in prison uniform slowly walked out. Compared to Magellan's massive figure, Barrett, who is only 2.8 meters tall, is even more oppressive. It's you. As a summer elder, one may not need to remember all the prisoners in prison. But as prisoners on the dangerous 6th floor of the advancing city, they need to be familiar with it. Douglas Barrett. The monster who once fought against the demon-slaying order alone. A man who was known as a monster in Roger's time. Oh, are you the head of this prison, right? What's your name? Is it the summer warden or the prison warden? Compared to Magellan's nervousness, Barrett's relaxed appearance became a sharp contrast. Especially Barrett's teasing while speaking appeared exceptionally calm. How did you escape? Magellan looked at the strange Barrett in front of him and couldn't help but question. But I just can't remember where it was strange. Ah la la dear beauty, may I invite you to the Shampoo Islands to relax? Of course, it was after I dealt with this silly big guy around me. Barrett no longer had Magellan in his eyes, and his body had appeared by Domino's side at some point. Perhaps compared to Magellan's height, it is a bit small, but for Domino, it is very oppressive. Especially when covered in muscles, the elegant posture is slightly strange. The appearance of suspicion seemed unresponsive. What's confusing is that I'm being teased. What shocked me was how quickly the person in front of me came to me. Whoosh! Go to hell. You trash. The sound of breaking through the air was mixed with roars, and Magellan's fist had already appeared in front of Barrett. Perhaps it is mixed with the resentment of, you are already one of the few girls who dare to tease us in advancing the city, despite having more wolves and less flesh. The power of this punch is enough to make a great pirate drink hatred on the spot. The fist, mixed with venom and domineering aura, was unstoppable, as if it could completely shatter Barrett's head in the next moment. Bang! Why do you people like to greet your face so much? Also mixed with the resentment of daring to disturb me and flirt with girls. When evading Magellan's fist, a punch hit Magellan's face. A fist mixed with domineering aura fiercely greeted Magellan. Its face contorted and flew backwards, crashing onto a nearby wall. Poisonous. The pain emanating from his fist made Barrett unable to resist raising his hand to take a look. The back of the fingers seemed to have been invaded by sulfuric acid and was rotting away. A gust of smoke drifted up, and the decayed fingers returned to their original state, seemingly without any scars. This is also the eerie situation that occurs when Barrett pulls out the chain from his body. There seems to be a feeling of Wolverine. Is it difficult for oneself to become a Wolverine? Bang ah! While holding his chin and thinking, Barrett was taken aback by the touch on his face. when I put away my wild thoughts and looked around. But he saw that Domino's fist, mixed with a faint and domineering aura, had already landed on his face. But because of its weak strength, this punch can really be said to have no feeling. It seems that Domino is also shocked why his attack is not working. The shock on his pretty face made Barrett feel a bit embarrassed as he buttoned the spot where his fist hit him. So what? Should I fall down? Damn it. Damn it. The mockery of Barrett, who was almost at full level, angered Domino. Pink fist, mixed with skilled, domineering greeting kept on Barrett's face. What? Why don't you go somewhere else and fight? I still have to rely on my face to make a living. It's really a bit unpleasant to be greeted with fists like a storm on my face. But ultimately it was a girl, Barrett also endured it and suggested. The most important thing is, if you fall on my face like this, it will only make me excited. Is this the legendary, thug excitement fist? Hush. Terrifying as a hiss. Wow, step aside. Domino. He's not something you can handle. At this moment, Magellan, who had been smashed into the wall, completely recovered. The already tall figure now transformed into a purple giant. Like the Grim Reaper from hell, an unstoppable trembling aura permeates the small underwater prison. Step by step, wait. Wait a little longer. Domino quickly stepped back and ran towards the distance. Domino, as the deputy warden, is well aware of how terrifying Magellan's venom is. Especially when it directly expands. That man is doomed. With such thoughts in mind, Domino has disappeared from sight. The entire venue is left with only Magellan and Barrett. As for those soldiers who fainted, they were already moved out. A big war is coming soon. Chapter 6. The arrival of the general. Maggie, covered in thin gauze. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Advance to the entrance of the city. At this point, the warship had already gone through various cumbersome procedures and arrived here. Where's Magellan? Can't we get out of the squatting toilet? As for why should I say so? Mainly due to the fruit of Magellan. Because my body is full of highly toxic substances, eating something on a daily basis can cause diarrhea. I spend almost 24 hours a day squatting in the toilet. I remember when Marshal Kong was still a general during the Warring States period, he didn't even see anyone when he arrived. This. That. Magellan specifically instructed not to tell Kazan about the riots that occurred below. Mainly, I'm afraid of losing face. The reason for being escaped from a monster last time can be used as an excuse that I am not familiar with when I first came to the underwater prison. And this time. There have been so-called monster jailbreak incidents again. It's better to wait until I finish handling all of this before entertaining General Kazan. Magellan who thinks so. Forget it, I'll go down and take a look at this guy, although lazy to move, who knows how long it will take Magellan to use the restroom. Kazan, with a helpless expression, had to personally go find Magellan. After all, the Navy is still quite busy right now. Ah. No way. General. When the soldiers regained their senses, Kazan had already entered the advancing city. Slowly walk towards the depths. I naturally paid no attention to the shouting of the soldiers behind me. Step by step, Jiang. In the distance, a monster-like figure ran out. If it weren't for the comical running movements, you might have been scared. Kazan looked helplessly at the figure slowly running towards him. I am the summer mayor here. Hannibal. Welcome General Kazan. Not good. I have expressed my thoughts again. Hannibal. Where is Magellan's office? Lead the way ahead, yes. General Kazan. Well. General, let me tell you, Magellan only squats in the toilet every day and doesn't have time to deal with things in prison. And this time, a monster ran out of the 6th floor, and Magellan is simply not worthy to be in this position. Also, please report to Marshal of the Warring States. Hannibal will definitely do a good job in the position of Summer Chief. Every time Hannibal finished speaking, Kazan couldn't help but sigh. This guy is here again. I vaguely remember the last time I met this live treasure, it was the last time however. Has someone escaped from prison on the 6th floor? This is quite troublesome, Magellan should be able to handle it. But at this moment, Magellan had already begun to become more solemn. The monster in front of him was covered in a domineering aura, and his venom was eroding a layer. The venom has been completely consumed before it comes into contact with its skin. When the next venom comes into contact with the broken defense, the domineering aura has already covered it again. And myself bang. The imposing fist had not yet touched Magellan's face, and his figure had already flown backwards. Barrett followed Magellan, who had flown backwards again, and rushed over. The scattered stones condensed in the palm of the hand, and the instantly formed stone stick wrapped around and smashed down with a domineering force. Poisonous dragon. If I were to endure this hard and solid blow, it would definitely be disastrous. With such thoughts in mind, Magellan raised his hands and the ferocious venom turned into a dragon head, attacking Barrett in the air. The giant dragon transformed from venom is of no use. Perhaps the ferocious dragon head will inject venom into the enemy's body when biting them down. Why not condense into a giant snake? Or rather, venomous snakes. Barrett, who was brainstorming, did not dodge at all. Boom! The stone stick wrapped around and forcefully struck Magellan's face. And the dragon's head, transformed from venom, was easily shattered by the domineering aura. The venom, which turned into liquid, spread out in all directions, beautiful and deadly like fireworks. Barrett, who was known for his dominance, paid no attention to Magellan's venom. Dong! Barrett, who fell to the ground, walked towards Magellan, holding a stone stick that continued to grow as the stones around him condensed. Do you know why I know how to use a stick? Cough. Barrett's problem didn't get Magellan's asshole. Because Magellan, who had already vomited blood with the same stick just now, stood up in embarrassment. Shoo, forget it, I'll just get rid of you as soon as possible. The pungent poisonous gas wafted inside the house, even breathing felt a bit uncomfortable. As the head of the promotion city, Magellan's venom fruit is simply perfect for this position. Even evenly matched enemies will slowly find it difficult to resist because the space is too small and they inhale too much poison gas. Even Barrett, who is one level stronger than Magellan, feels a bit dizzy when he hears it. Not to mention others. The huge stone stick in his hand, condensed by the stones, was wrapped around a terrifying aura and lifted high by Barrett. Combination fruit, it's more like weapon fruit. The fruit that can decompose various objects to form weapons is called a composite fruit. After the unstoppable roast, Magellan smashed it down with the action of resisting. Boom! It seems that even the entire underwater prison has been slightly shaken. Under a loud roar. When the smoke dissipated, Magellan had already rolled his eyes and lay in a huge pit covered in bloodstains. Under the shattered floor, it seemed as if it had been smashed into the 6th floor cell. Is it too heavy to take action? Scratching the back of his head, Barrett awkwardly said. Perhaps they can only squat in the toilet all year round. Physical fitness is ultimately slightly behind the top. Or rather, falling behind too much. The fruit has strong ability, and the batch of fruits at the top also has a place in its ability. Unfortunately. If Magellan were to train his physical skills like the 3 great generals, I'm afraid it's in a place with a natural advantage of advancing the city. I can really achieve invincibility in single combat. But this is all based on the opponent's strong body skills. Instead of the current situation where physical skills are still acceptable. The difference of one level in physical skill level can be described as heaven and earth. Not to mention that the physical skills are so poor that Barrett has no interest in this step. Chapter 7. General arrives. Go to war with the green pheasant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the fourth layer of the Red Lotus Hell. The vibration spread throughout the entire underwater prison, let alone the nearby level. 4. Wow, ah. Kazan frowned and stood up while Hannibal screamed in fear, sitting in the office of the summer mayor. This kind of vibration. Magellan should have taken care of it, right? Do you want to go down and take a look? But I don't want to move. While lazily thinking, Kazan frowned and stood up, slowly walking towards the door. Big General. I'll go down and take a look. You can wait here first. If Magellan comes back, say I went down to find him. At this critical moment, it's better not to cause any trouble. After giving orders, Kazan disappeared at the door. The sixth layer concludes the scene of the battle. Sha. A figure slowly formed at the gathering point of the gravel, and Clockdale, who had obtained a cigar from somewhere, slowly appeared. The cigar in his mouth was slightly dented by his teeth in shock. The rapidly contracting pupils stared fixedly at Barrett standing there. What's going on? You haven't run yet. It's not easy to escape from the underwater prison. Is that right? Why don't we just go and kill directly? Barrett, with a calm expression, walked indifferently towards the Red Lotus Hell of level 4. Unless all three generals come over, no one can stop their footsteps. With arrogant thoughts, Barrett stopped as he passed by Clockdale. If you're not brave enough, why don't you hide behind my butt and see how I get out? Bastard. Whoosh. Clockdale, who was mocked, did not impulsively choose to take action. But he headed straight towards the distant exit. At a speed similar to a sharp sword, accompanied by wind and sand sweeping through. It seems like something unexpected happened. With a big mouth. The sudden sigh was mixed with a hint of coldness. The chilling aura transforms into an ice bird, and the places it passes through are covered in ice. Shah Jilan. Clockdale rushed towards the ice bird and quickly raised his hand to block it. The wind blade condensed with gravel met the ice bird, and under a burst of impact, Proctor stopped in an instant. Even retreated a distance under the impact. General of the Navy. Looking at the newcomer with a serious expression, Clockdale felt a tingling sensation on his scalp. Why did a naval general appear here? It's so frustrating. Who do I think it is? So it's you, Clockdale. But Magellan shouldn't even be able to handle Clockdale, should he? Seeing Crocodilus unharmed, Kazan couldn't help but frown. I don't have the strength to defeat that monster. Clockdale stood up solemnly and slowly walked to the side. This is the protagonist of today. I wonder if you recognize Admiral of the Navy. Barrett, who was betrayed by Clockdale, originally planned to watch the play. Kazan couldn't help but sigh in his worried expression. Yo, are you the little ghost who used to follow behind that old guy Cap? Are you so big? In a sense, the pheasant is even larger than Barrett. But it doesn't affect Barrett's bad breath at all. After all, 20 years ago when Barrett was stirring the sea, Kazan's strength was not enough to be a match. But the combination of nature, frozen fruits, and the teachings of Zifa, this old thing. Kazan, who was already gifted, has now become a monster-like existence. It's you. Without hesitation, Kazan immediately recognized Barrett not far away. Barrett, who once fought against the demon-slaying order alone, can be said to have made Kazan, who was once weak, shudder. Kazan has a deep impression of this ruthless person. Douglas Barrett. This monster has escaped. No wonder Magellan can't handle it. That's really troublesome. A solemn aura permeates the medium and small space. The laziness in the eyes of the green pheasant slowly dissipated, replaced by a solemn expression. The aura emanating from oneself is like hell in an abyss. Cold and deadly. Creaking, creaking, it seems there's another battle to be fought. Sitting with some warmed-up movements, the creaking sound all over his body made Clockdale cling tightly to the wall. Why don't you leave on your own? A monster like you, I can't sit idly by. Gauze's face was mixed with solemnity and helplessness. Although I don't know why this monster has been imprisoned for 20 years and is still so energetic. But now is not the time to think. Because whoosh. Admiral. Come please me. With his fist in front of him, Barrett released his domineering expression without hesitation. Gauze, who was trembling all over, was not afraid, but vigilant. Faced with powerful enemies and the passing aura of dominance. Ice fist set. After the hand element is transformed, it is intertwined with a combination of dominance and the iron fist inherited from Capu. Boom. The fists of the two collided fiercely together. Like the roar of an abyss descending, it resounded in Crocodile's ear. Monsters and monster fights. The chilling battle also began with this punch. Frozen time capsule. Click. Last second, Barrett was instantly frozen by the green pheasant. Bang. Not enough. Not enough. General's strength can't just be like this. Chingy. The next second, Barrett, who is purifying in seconds, rushes up to create a set of combo punches. The power of fists entwining around the bully made the green pheasant tremble with fear. If you accidentally hit a move and don't have time to elemental it, it will be a big deal. Boom boom. Ah 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 ah. Help. Bastard pheasant. Bastard. Ah 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 ah. Immortals fight, mortals suffer. Between their every move, countless cells were blasted open. There are countless prisoners who have been bombed and killed. Angry curses rang out one by one, and the next second they were frozen into popsicles, and then shattered by Barrett's punch. Chapter 8. Terrifying Generals. Peak Duel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. As the top group of people at sea. The battle between Barrett and Gauze can be said to have been ongoing. Gauze didn't give it his all, and Barrett didn't use his fruit ability either. But the battle between the two was still very dynamic. The entire fifth floor is accompanied by bursts of roar. The pirates who once bullied on the sea were now trembling with fear. The occasional chill froze one criminal after another. The walls that were occasionally bombed, along with the criminals, turned into flesh and mud, 2 spears. Click. Stop playing those little tricks. Chingy. Let's have a fist-to-fist battle. Oiler oiler oiler. Big wood, big wood. Wow. Once again. Because the body that didn't have time to defend was shattered. The green pheasant is also getting more and more headaches. This monster is a man who can face the demon-slaying order directly with his physical talent and physical skills. And oneself, although physical fitness cannot be underestimated. But that depends on who we compare with. A green pheasant who claims to be able to take a punch with a white beard effortlessly. A punch without the ability to shake the fruit. At this moment, we have to rely on elemental transformation to strive for a 55% opening damage. Why are people who have been imprisoned for 20 years still so spirited? Level 5.5, boom. Bang. Dong. Wow, what is this situation? Ivan Koff, the human demon king with a face that was bigger than a person's, shouted with a displeased expression. Is it difficult to advance the maintenance of the city? Explode some irrelevant things. Or did the fourth emperor fight here? Has the naval headquarters fallen? Step-by-step report. Report. The figure from afar ran in panic. The naval admiral is fighting a monster. The frightened appearance seemed to have been startled. The general's strength is really like a monster. And there is also a figure who is indistinguishable from the general in autumn, what? A naval general. And still fighting people. Yes. Although I don't know why I ended up in the underwater prison. After all, most generals will not come here. What's going on? Okay. It seems like someone broke out of prison and ran into the approaching naval general. Nanny. More. Jailbreak. And you also need a general to take action. Where's Magellan? No. I don't know. Is it difficult? Did the monster below come out? Ivankov's face was extremely solemn. It can be said that we should take what happened above seriously. The impact caused by the personal action of a naval general, perhaps this prison will be abolished battlefield, why would a monster like you escape? Kazan had already transformed into a half-body wrapped in elemental elements, with a serious expression as he looked at Barrett. The man in front of me is simply a strong fowl. With the blessing of the three-color domineering aura, my freezing ability is like playing around. Even if you seize the opportunity to freeze the other person, you will be instantly broken free. And the opponent's fist can only dodge with all its strength, if accidentally punched. Boom. Why? Of course it's because I'm free. Green Pheasant. If you have the ability, stop me. With a punch that tore through the space and shattered another prison cell, Barrett grinned grimly. Isn't this nonsense? Who would be willing to be imprisoned for a lifetime without seeing the sun and end up depressed? Since you have this strength, why be a prisoner? You're too dangerous. I can't let you out. Kazan's gaze at this moment was solemn and terrifying. In just a few rounds, the terror and madness of the person in front of them were already astonishing. No wonder the Marshal of the Warring States period and Mr. Capu were so prepared. Such a person. It really shouldn't exist. Well. Then I can only kill you. Boom. Devil form. At this moment, the armor color covering the whole body and the domineering color wrapping around oneself instantly erupted. As for the so-called sight and hearing, go straight to the maximum. In an instant of explosion, even the air couldn't stop roaring. A devilish figure. The overwhelming sense of oppression is not inferior to the height of 5 meters in the original work. Whoosh! The figure that shot out in an instant had already arrived in front of Kazan in the blink of an eye. Like the arrival of the devil in hell, the powerful energy condensed in his fists made his entire skin tremble. Frozen fist set. Unlike Magellan's negligence, Kazan, who has been suppressing all directions on the sea, is definitely no less powerful than Barrett. The ability to solidify frozen fruits with domineering aura is no less powerful than a punch from Barrett. The cold air attacking Joyo is mixed with the awe from the devil in hell. The entire underwater prison is trembling. The two evenly matched individuals seem to have no choice but to do with each other. Boom. 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 Kazan, who was slightly inferior, had an increasingly ugly expression. The physical talent of the person in front of us can be said to be unparalleled. Barrett's face, completely immersed in battle, became even more ferocious. Fists repeatedly tore apart the body of the green pheasant, punching Kazan one after another. And Kazan can only choose to fight fiercely in unavoidable situations. The battle between the strong is like this. The flashy fruit abilities can only complement each other. If it were a yellow ape, perhaps they would choose to dodge and then use lasers to kill their opponents in the distance. But the three generals each have their own strengths and weaknesses, and each has their own strengths and weaknesses. The yellow ape has the strongest speed. Sakaski has the strongest destructive power. But Kazan is not as fast as the yellow ape and has less destructive power than Sakaski. But it naturally has its own strength. Ice represents cold. And cold is the source of fear for every creature. Cold represents freezing. Frozen enemies are like fish on a chopping board that can be slaughtered by anyone. Everything points to one word. Control. Chapter 9. The situation is not right, strategic retreat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What does cold air breed? Excuse me. Barrett thought with a displeased expression on his face. The fist seems to have slowed down a bit at some point, but it doesn't seem to have. Boom. The power has not diminished, and Kazan's face looks ugly with a single punch. Just the style of boxing makes people shiver. The fist passed by Kazan's side, and when Kazan realized it, he was still grateful that he had dodged another punch. Boom. Heavy lifting of the knee landed on the stomach. Subsequently, click like the sound of glass shattering, Kazan's body shattered with it. Cut elemental real chicken annoying. The knee that collided with Kazan's body was a piercing pain. Armed color dominance can capture fluids and damage the capable person themselves. But if the three generals are easily injured by dominance, they won't be called the three generals anymore. Barrett's ability to incorporate elements in advance is a headache. When you seize the opportunity, you will be blocked by the green pheasant again. After all, it's different from physical trash like Magellan. The physical skills of the three generals have always been one of the top ones in the group. The three bullshit generals in their past lives are simply farting if their body skills are not good. If that's really the case. In the Battle of Dingshan, Whitebeard can definitely kill indiscriminately. Similarly, Barrett, relying on his terrifying physical condition, can easily seize the opportunity to make the green pheasant vulnerable. But the other party was always on guard against Barrett's fist. The combat experience is also so terrifying. Not to mention being one of the three great generals. All of this, just touching the other person, has already caused frostbite. Different from Magellan's venom. This injury has no wounds or decay. The self-healing ability can only give Barrett a slight advantage. The piercing cold cannot be removed just like in the original work. In addition to various rubber skills, Luffy can also use rubber to achieve other instinctive combat methods. The same goes for Kazan here. From beginning to end, the ability to freeze fruits has been unleashed recklessly. And beyond that, the fifth layer is already a place covered by cold air. The cold here is even worse than Winter Island. Kazan, who has a home advantage, really makes Barrett feel tricky. Moreover, there is the occasional cold air that affects speed, attempting to freeze one's own joints. He is truly a great general. He is indeed a monster. Barrett's praise did not make Kazan relax his guard, still silently looking at the other person. It is clearly their own home advantage. Even if it were someone else, they wouldn't have known they would freeze to death for millions of rounds. And the green pheasant dares to speak, under the extremely cold hell of the fifth layer. I have an absolute advantage in my innate position. Even if two other generals of the same level come, one will be taken down by oneself. But Barrett in front of him is still lively, and it seems that he really can't take him down. Who the hell is the monster? It seems that we can only try to delay time as much as possible. I can't fight anymore. If there's another general, I won't be able to take it anymore. Whispering sounded, and Barrett's face began to become slightly solemn. If it's just Kazan, Barrett said he can keep fighting for him. But this is the city of advancement. One of the important naval sites is not far from the headquarters of the Navy, Marinverdo. I am just alone, while the other side is always ready for support. It's difficult for any of the three generals to escape even if they want to do another one. Hey, it seems like it's not time for us to fight to the death yet, Admiral. Do you want to escape? Do you think I'll let you go? The green pheasant stared fixedly at Barrett, and a solemn aura filled the air once again. Boom. The fist pounded fiercely on the ground, and the shattered ground also raised a hint of smoke. Whoosh. When Kazan reacted, he suddenly plunged into the rising smoke. But Barrett's figure has disappeared. Buzz. I won't let you escape. Under the perception of sight, smell, and color, a terrifying aura is shooting upwards and escaping. Kazan, with an ugly face, instantly disappeared into place, his resolute murmur frozen in the air with the cold air. At the same time, advancing outside the city, is that guy Kazan in trouble? Who is it? Amidst the foam worms, the bewildered warring states couldn't help but become nervous. Is it difficult for that old guy to prepare for a prison break? Shouldn't it be? Those who could pose a threat to Kazan have been locked up for at least 20 years. Even if you break out of prison, you're not in the mood to fight Shinji, right? And Magellan can easily handle it, right? Yes. It's the criminal who escaped from the 6th floor. Is it on the 6th floor? In that case, there shouldn't be a big problem. Kazan will take care of it. Upon hearing the exact reply, the warring states period breathed a sigh of relief. The guys on the 6th floor who were detained have been incarcerated for countless years. Even if he escapes, he doesn't have much combat power. At most, it's just relying on Kazan's unfamiliarity with them to create some trouble. Ha ha ha, why don't you send the yellow ape to take a look? At this moment, the sound coming from the side stunned the warring states period. What's wrong, Cap? There are 2 real monsters imprisoned inside, if either of them escapes. The warring states period was momentarily stunned at the words, and then his face became slightly solemn. Go tell the yellow ape to go push into the city and see what Kazan is up to. Yes. Bruno, the sound of telephone worms kept coming and going until the orders of the warring states period were issued. The phone worm was also hung up by the warring states on the opposite side. Hannibal, who had been hung up, was no longer nervous and felt a little relieved. 2 generals take action, even if you are the pirate king, there is no way to escape. Bang! Ah. Hannibal felt relieved for a moment, and a loud explosion echoed beneath his feet. Whoosh! Finally came out, really, like a maze, as the smoke dissipated, a tall figure appeared in Hannibal's eyes. The terrifying devil form has been cancelled, revealing Barrett's bronze skin. Carrying a person on his shoulder. Alone. Many. Dominoes. What have you done to Dominoes? Upon hearing the commotion, Barrett looked over in confusion. What caught the eye was Hannibal influenced by Yiksha. An interesting navy. Whoosh. Damn it. At this moment, Kazan's figure also darted out with displeasure. Under the broken face, it was enough to see what kind of anger Barrett had made him. Chapter 10. Green Pheasant Taboos for Ratting, Targeted. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you still a strong person? Kazan's face looked ugly as he despised Barrett and couldn't help but roar. How dare you take hostages? It's simply too much. I'm a pirate, admiral of the navy. Barrett patted the hostage's buttocks and said helplessly. Just kidding, I'm not one of those righteous navies, are I? It's easy for me to let go of the hostages. Either don't look for foreign aid, let's have a real fight. Either. Give me a boat, and when it's safe, I'll release this beauty back. I originally intended to hold Magellan hostage. After all, the value of a deputy warden may not necessarily deter the navy. But considering Kazan's words about this guy in front of me, a deputy warden is already enough. If it were Sakaski, even if he held the warring states hostage himself, it might not be effective. It seemed like he was addicted to filming, but while giving Kazan some time to think, Barrett couldn't help but take a few more shots. Kazan's veins were bulging on his forehead, as if he wanted to kill Barrett with his gaze. A man who greets a dolphin gently cannot tolerate a just navy being threatened with their life. So when faced with Barrett's choice, Kazan's choice was unusually obvious. The silent attitude is just a desire to delay for a while longer. I hope the yellow ape can come quickly. At this time, the yellow ape, which was highly anticipated by Kazan, began to depart. The yellow ape, hiding in an unknown corner due to fishing, made it difficult for a group of messenger soldiers to find it. It's really scary. Are all the generals in trouble? Under the management of increasingly sleazy facial expressions. It's really uncomfortable not to watch for a whole day, but to watch for a whole day. Then, he patted the non-existent dust on his body. Transformed into a beam of light and disappeared in place by continuously switching the speed of the light beam, it can be ensured to arrive in the fastest possible time. Although it may be a bit exhausting, having another general around is not very important. Along the way, even playing with the air conditioning on a few frightened seagulls, the yellow ape finally arrived at the propulsion city in time. What happened? With such a worried expression on his face. Why are you only here now? I've done my best all the way, it seems too late. It's so scary. The face of the green pheasant. The yellow ape thought of it and became somewhat interested in what happened. 10 minutes ago, in the time before the yellow ape arrived. On the boundless sea, a small warship slowly sailed away from the propulsion city. General. Hurry up and take action. I don't want to be a burden. General. De Jiang. On the warship, there were tears of joy and joy. Domino's roar only earned Kazan an arm that he couldn't lift. It's not just about being a hostage. At this point, no one can guarantee whether they can keep the other party. I am not a yellow ape. In terms of speed, the opponent is always one advantage behind. After the battle ended, Kazan also understood one thing. If it really forces the other party to a dead end and allows Barrett to carry out a killing spree in the advancing city. I cannot guarantee that I can save others myself. This is the uniqueness of their level. Perhaps the other party cannot defeat me, but I also cannot defeat the other party. But the other people who pushed into the city were in trouble. If Magellan is still awake, he can provide cover on the side. But only oneself is not enough. Just like what happened at headquarters that year. Marshal of the Warring States period and Lieutenant General Capu both had to confront the enemy while protecting the soldiers at the naval headquarters. Time has returned to the present, and Kazan and the yellow ape have gradually become silent for a while. Finally, the yellow ape, who came hard, will have to work hard again to go back. Kazan stood there with a calm expression on his face. This is the first time I have felt that kind of powerlessness since becoming a general. Step by step. No, it's not good. General. At this moment, the sound of hurried footsteps disrupted Kazan's thoughts. Frowning, a Navy member who came with tears streaming down their face, with a look of guilt that made them want to immediately commit seppuku to apologize. A bad premonition also appeared in Kazan's heart, and his face turned ugly again. The captain of the second team of the Whitebeard Pirates. Portkas d Ace. C. It's gone. Sure enough. The Navy's words made Kazan's face look extremely ugly. Oh. It's so scary. The yellow ape, who had not yet set off, couldn't help but shudder. I also have concerns about this matter. It's no longer important for the criminal to escape from the advancing city again. Because the Navy has more important things to do next. But now and at the same time. We have already moved away from the warships in the propulsion city. Ding. Escape successfully. Rewards have been distributed. System. Is there any personal interface or something? Can I take a look at my current situation? Ding. Personal interface successfully opened. Host. Douglas Barrett. Gender. Male. Age. 43 years old. Fruit capacity. Combination fruit. Awakened. Domineering, armed color is domineering. Hardening, covering, wrapping, internal damage. Seeing and hearing the color is domineering. Perception. The domineering color is domineering. Range control shock, precise strike, domineering color entanglement. Talent. Devil's body. Under innate advantages, terrifying physical fitness created by nurture. Evaluation. As the top group of monsters, as long as they are not surrounded, they are basically safe. Above. The system's evaluation is considered normal. The only thing Barrett didn't expect was that the combined fruit had already awakened. That also saves me from developing it myself. Bang. Sha sha sha, hee 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 hee, just take it as your reward for saving me. I'll give you the new toy I found. Oh, I thought you didn't dare to escape. Heavy objects fell to the ground in a whirlwind mixed with gravel. Clockdale's body slowly appeared. Also interrupted Barrett's thoughts. Barrett smiled slightly and sneered. When I turned around to look at Lao Sha's gift. Barrett paused for a moment, then a playful expression surged on his face. This is really a gift that I am very satisfied with.